Hello and welcome back to a new article live stream. I'm going to call it article, not a hero, because today we have a scenario pack, and I am so thrilled to be here talking with you, Villain Theory, about the Trickster Takeover. How you doing?
I'm doing really good. I feel like it's been a long time since we've done a scenario pack. I don't think me and you have ever reacted to a scenario
Nope.
pack together. Like Mojo was like the last one, right? So this is exciting. This is almost unprecedented. So yeah, I'm
Yep.
really curious.
I think I may be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure that this is the first scenario pack that I've covered an article on my channel.
Yeah, maybe. It's been a
Because
long time.
I was out of pocket when Mojo came out, and the one before that would have been the Hood, and I wasn't doing articles at that point. So very excited. I'm happy to get scenario packs because I think scenario packs are just such a cool product where you're getting like villains. I have no idea what this is. We have not seen this before, and so we're going to be diving into it, but like cool villains, cool modular sets, and just like ways to amp up the game. So I am pumped.
I'm super excited. Scenarios I think can be really fun. Mojo set the bar really high for scenarios, and
Mm-hmm.
modular sets maybe even higher. So that's we'll see what approach they've gone for here. But
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yep. Um, Also, I think I may be wrong on this. I think this is the product that at Con of Heroes they teased was designed by Michael Boggs. So I'm also
It
very excited about that.
it surely has to be the last thing I think he designed for the game like entirely was like maybe like the sinister motives wave. But I think he helped set up like the next evolution wave. I think he helped on Iceman and stuff. Maybe set that up before. So this is really cool.
Nice. Well, let's dive into it because I have been waiting way too long. We actually paused the recording of our Shadow of the Cast podcast. So
Surprise.
surprise! It's almost like we time it like this. So we've got the Trickster takeover. It looks like we have Loki and Enchantress on this cover, and this was spoiled by Gen Con, so we kind of knew this was coming, but I have no idea what it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this article together, react to it, talk about it, and listen to the chat and see what we've got. So villains come in all shapes and sizes. Some are large and brutish, others surround themselves with like-minded minions. Some are dangerous villains, however, ones use cunning and trickery to manipulate the world to their whim. So it does look like we are going to be getting an Enchantress and a Loki villain or minions or something like that, and I'm very excited because we were talking about on the podcast, we're not fans of the Loki scenario that we currently
Not
have.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough scenario. It's a very frustrating scenario, which is very on theme for Loki, to be fair. But it's very frustrating. It's very long, and so I'm excited to see if we do actually get a Loki villain, if that's going to be something that we can kind of have, because he's such an iconic Marvel villain. So
I'm really excited for that. I really like Loki as well. And the Enchantress mod set we've got is maybe not the most enchanting, if I can throw a pun out there, especially if you're Valkyrie. But I'm really curious to see. I feel like there's so much potential with like the Asgard stuff. And I'm gonna make a prediction. The next line we haven't read out says, "So what happens when two of those trickster villains team up?" So I don't know if we're gonna fight one, then the other, then combined. That's my prediction,
ooh,
or if it's just one big like double sort of trickster scenario. But I feel like there's a ton of potential with this stuff.
nice. We got you guys can't stop making Shadow of the Cast because every time you record, we get a new article.
Honestly, we went to record like last week and it didn't work out, and suddenly we did it this week a little bit late, and suddenly there's an article. It's like you can't avoid it.
Yeah, it was really awkward when we had to ask FFG to delay the article a week.
Imagine.
That did not happen. Jasco says the volume seems a little bit low. Are you talking about both of our volumes or just Villain Theory? I bumped Villain Theory's volume up. Hopefully, it's a little bit better, but we'll adjust as we get there. 78 card pack. Guest designed by former Marvel Champions designer Michael Boggs. There it is. We got it. It sinks into the scene with two brand new scenarios. Okay, so two different scenarios, similar to like the Mojo pack. Whereas I think, well, a Risky Business. This is a very like similar Green
Yeah.
Goblin pack. That's
Yeah, I think we
that's
had
pretty
three.
awesome.
This is two, so it's gonna be like one each, I assume. That's very
Yep.
cool.
And
I'm
we
reading.
have Blazing Glory. Sorry. Uh, Blazing Glory is saying that this might be the best scenario pack to date for them.
Oh, that is exciting. I like the sound of that. I can glimpse some of the cards as I've scrolled it down now, and I'm seeing everything I like. I've not read the details, but seems fun. I'm gonna spoil. I see a minion with 4 attack. That's not very common.
Ah,
That's exciting.
nice. Nice. Okay, so it looks like the first one we're going to be talking about is Enchantress. Villain, can you talk about Enchantress? I'm going to mess around with the volume to see if I can fix it.
Okay, I mean, I can. um, yeah, cool. I just wanted to make sure people can hear me. I'll shout into the microphone. Enchantress. Enchantress is a villain. She has 2 scheme, 1 attack, and she has the Asgard and Mystic trait, which seems pretty fitting here. This is quite reminiscent, I think, of her as a minion in the game. But as a villain, she has this force response. After she attacks you, place 1 charm counter on the enchantment card in your play area. What does this mean? What is the
Hmm.
enchantment card in my play area? Will I always have one? Will this miss sometimes? Is this part of the scenario? We will probably find out. She has 15 hit points on her first things. Kind of feels normalish. But she has 32 cards in her encounter set, which feels pretty high. So you're getting a lot
That
of
is a
cards for your.
lot.
Mm.
Huh.
I like
Well,
the art,
that's
by the way. I'll
interesting.
just say it's very striking magic.
I love it when the like art overtakes some of the text boxes. I just think that that feels gives it a very dynamic feel where like the
Makes it
mystic
pop.
is kind of yeah, right over there.
Mm.
Um, yep. 99 Ninjas is talking about it feels like Ebony Maw, right? Where when they activate, something is happening with your environment, your spell, which is another kind of like sorcerer. And so we're getting that kind of vibe. Right off the bat, she's gonna hit her
Mm.
heroes with her hypnotic gaze. Wondering if this is an enchantment. This is permanent. Okay. So that's interesting.
The eye is getting me. I don't like eye contact.
Yeah, yeah. Don't look into the eyes. Um, Kevin, this is an official reveal. This is official. This is not fan made. But so your
Mm.
identity gets the Defiant trait. If there are 5 or more charm counters here, remove each of the charm counters and flip this card.
Okay.
Okay. Say more. Say more.
I'm already thinking about the like strength and diversity card with Falcon, which rewards you for having like different traits. I'm like, oh, I've got the defiant
Yeah,
trait.
there you go. Nice, nice. There are 5 different copies of the card. That's cool. So you're going to be
Ooh,
dealt out a hypnotic gaze, each with a different enchantment on the other side, and you won't know
that's
what you're dealing
cool.
with until you flip. That is really cool. While still on hypnotic gaze, your identity gains the defiant trait, representing how your hero is resisting the temptations. After it has enough charms counters, it through attacks or cards like Crown. What does the Crown do?
It's a great question. The crown is an attachment which, in expert mode, gives a stalwart. Interesting. So that's a little bit of different design than we sometimes see. You know, it's not just the same
Yeah.
thing in each mode. Force response. After the enchantress schemes against you, place a charm counter. So now it's not just attacking; it's when she schemes.
Mm.
Just to check that, yes. So that's kind of interesting, and you can get rid of it with a hero action. You exhaust your identity and take a damage. Discard it. It's not too challenging to get rid of. That it will cause you to be exhausted. And as long as she's not scheming, it's maybe not doing as much. So kind of interesting decisions there. Maybe you're just staying hero form and you don't mind too much. It does give Stalwart in expert mode, so there is an alternative downside. So I think I like everything about this card. The free boost icon's a little bit scary.
Yeah. Yeah, the 3 boost icons is a little scary. I think like the stalwart is the biggest issue here for me because one of the ways that you're going to counter adding those charm counters like you do in Ebony Maw is status lock him, right? Like if you status lock Ebony
Yeah.
Maw, he becomes a very vanilla villain, right? Because he's just not removing a lot of the invocation counters on the cards where you just kind of get that turned off if you have a
Yeah.
crown of the enchantress on there. And so
Interesting. I was
mm,
going to say, I just saw from Blazing Glory, he actually corrected me. It's not just, you don't just exhaust to get rid of it, it's each player exhaust. I didn't actually fully take that
oh
into account. In
wow.
multiplayer, this gets worse and worse with every player. Each player's going to have to take all the damage as well, like all the damage being 1 each. But, you know, that's really different. So I'm kind of curious about
Oof. Yeah, yeah, that's it's kind of mean.
that.
I'm curious what the other side of these enchantment cards are. Or an
I'm sure we'll see
enthralled.
it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Enthralled lackey. So this is a minion. Dude.
I love the art.
Yeah, right? Like this okay. So 2/1/3 with quick strike. And after this minion attacks you, place a charm counter on the enchantment card in your area. So quick
Mm.
strike, pretty much it's almost like an incite one for your enchantment card.
Unless you are alter ego. It kind of maybe feels a bit like Batroc. If you're alter ego, aside from the crown, she attacks, she adds it, so she's not doing that if she schemes against you. And again, the quick strike doesn't go off if you're alter ego. That's kind of curious.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting. Definitely interesting. So each trance side enchantment hits you with an immediate effect when it's revealed. Okay. It also possesses a unique forced action. This is a special type of action that you have to perform before you can end the player phase. Ooh. Though you can choose the moment you do so. For example, the Trance of Greed. We're talking about how much we like resource sinks in our encounter cards. Villain, do you think we're getting one here?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna say no.
Okay. What is it?
I see Tony Stark with way too many guns. I don't know. He's got an obsession, and it doesn't look that healthy. But no, it's a permanent. So this is the flipped thing, I guess. So I did. Yes.
Yeah.
When your identity gains the Enthralled traits, you're no longer defiant. When revealed, you are confused. Otherwise, take 2 damage. So if you're already confused, is that what that means? Because normally it would say if you're already confused.
I assume
Is
so.
it like a space saving
or
kind
if
of
you're
different phrasing?
stalwarts.
Oh, true. That's also, yeah. So kind of confused, or you might take damage if you're already confused. Forced action: exhaust this card, draw a card, then play that card if you cannot take 1 damage. So the fourth action that you kind of have to do is you have to draw a card and play it. So it's kind of an upside, but it's constricting what you can do because you have to try and play it.
Yeah.
So that's
But if you draw like a
really,
resource card, you're taking a damage, right? Or if you
yeah.
draw a card that you cannot pay for, you're taking a damage. Or all
Mm.
my tricky tricks of not sneak attacking, but sneaking in Quinn Carrier with build support. If you draw a Quinn Carrier, like, oh no.
So
Take
this is
damage.
you. It's before you end the player phase. That's what I wanted to look at. So right. So basically, you spend all your cards. You might have nothing left in hand. So quite often you might take that damage. That's really interesting.
Yeah, and you choose what Simper is saying. You choose when to trigger forced actions, which I think is a new, like,
Oh, is it any
it's not a
time?
keyword,
Right.
but
I
you just
see. I'm.
have
I'm.
to do it before the player phase ends. But I don't think we've ever seen a forced action before. We've seen forced response, forced interrupt, forced action. I think is new to the
Yeah.
game.
It is new, and I'm misunderstanding the timing of all this, probably because of that. So yeah, like you sort of clarified, during the player phase, before you end it, but like when you want. That's really interesting. I mean, I guess I'd be inclined to do it earlier than later,
Yeah.
because then I get an extra card that I could potentially play. But what if it's something I really don't want at that moment? Maybe just take the damage is safer. Really interesting choice immediately. This is like really testing you in sort of different directions,
Yep.
and I like it. I like this a lot. Maybe if my hand
Yeah.
isn't very good, I'm like any option could be like a better option. It's kind of
hmm
helpful there. So
Or if you have a
three.
great hand, the other cost of playing those good cards in your hand is to effectively take a damage. Right?
Okay, someone says, yeah. I was gonna say someone says keep reading the article. It tells more about force action, so that might be helpful.
Nice. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
cool.
ban excessive excitement viewers. Okay. Well, there you go. Forced action. Thank you, Semper. I appreciate it. Read the card. Do what the card says. Read the article. Do what the article says. I find that in a lot of facets of my life. A special action type that you have to perform before you can end the player phase. Though you can choose the moment you do so. Okay. Forced action lets you draw a card, forces you to immediately play that card, or else take a damage. You cannot. You have to perform this action before the player phase ends, but you could wait to perform it until your hand is empty, so you don't need to waste any of your resources on the drawn card, assuming you have a hit point to spare, or you lose the game, I guess. Or you draw the card early on your turn, hoping it's something you want to play right away, which also, kind of random other thought, you want to probably be in hero form, because if you draw like a swinging web kick and you're in Peter Parker, you take the damage because you can't play it because you're an alter ego. Or like there are some alter ego cards like Creel Charmer, where if you draw that in hero form as Gambit, you're tough. And then Magic is like, okay, I know what the card is. I know what I can do. Just kind of like, which kind of makes sense. She's Mystic. She's kind of playing with that magic. It feels like a direct counter to Magic. It feels like we're having a mage battle here.
Yeah.
So that's
I
cool.
like this an incredible amount. So you start with the hypnotic gaze, and it might be trance of greed. That was difficult. Um, I love the choices. So it looks like the scenario gets harder after it flips, and maybe you're just trying to delay it flipping. Is that what I understand here?
I think so, but as Chad is saying, and I kind of agree with him, I don't know. It feels like it's gonna be fairly hard to keep this from not flipping, at least at some point
Yeah.
in the scenario.
I see another trance here we can look at as well.
Yeah. So the Trance of Wrath. So this is we get the Enthralled trait. So again, same kind of trait that we get from Greed. This Captain America is about to kill me with his shield. I think that's what I'm seeing.
This this is giving me a certain MCU scene feeling. I'm
Yep.
just gonna put it out there. No spoilers. I'm scared.
Oh my gosh. When revealed, we're going to search the top 5 cards of the encounter deck for a card and reveal it. I like that. I think that's fun because it's probably bad. I think now all of your I don't even cosmic entity cards are kind of fun to try and play with these. Maybe
Yeah,
we can actually hit them this time. Um
maybe.
that's kind of cool. But like, if you are playing a minion slayer, grab a minion. If you are playing a someone who's great at thwarting, you can grab a side scheme. So like, it gives you a little bit of flexibility. It's not horrendous, but it's not great. But then as a forced
Mm.
action, exhaust the card, take 1 indirect damage to deal 2 damage to a minion. Okay, that's
I really like
cool.
that. There's a downside and an upside to these. It's draw a card, but you got to play it. Take indirect, deal two, and there's also a one revealed that when it flips, something happens. It's kind of immediately impactful, and then putting that choice on you for like
Yeah.
presumably the rest of the game or something. I really like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That yeah, it's really cool. And we were talking about this in the podcast that no one's listened to because we're in the middle of recording it. How like I don't actually remember if you agree, but I like it when you are given those choices. Like we were talking about the joystick modular set,
I
where
love
you have
choices.
those tough choices, where it's like, okay, draw a card. Which now that I think about it, Tough Choices was a modular set that was put out by the Kana Heroes team a couple of years ago, where it was that. It's like you can draw a card, everyone else can draw a card, and then something bad happens if you drew a card. And so like, it's just like I like it. Oh, it's so good. Why
Yeah, very cool.
is why is it? Why is it forced though? Because it's kind of the I think the mechanic of the scenario is they're kind of all built around these enchantment cards, and so it's you're getting forced to do something, and so that's just kind of the new mechanic that they're adding. JF. Hmm.
Forced action seems like cool though. It's like something you can do, you have to do, but you can kind of have some flexibility on it. I hope they. I already hope they continue this. I already know I'm gonna like this. I feel like in theory it cannot go wrong.
Yep.
It could
Yep.
go wrong, but like the idea is sound. So good.
Nice. In addition to the forced action on the trance side, the trait you gain from your enchantment attachment can also determine how some of her other cards affect you. Okay, so you're gonna get like these dual nature cards based on what side your permanent card is forced on. So do my bidding. What does this guy do? This treachery.
This treachery, do my bidding, says when revealed, if your identity has the defiant trait, choose one. If your identity has the enthralled trait, do both in any order.
Oh.
I already like before we talk about it that it says do both in any order. So yeah, you've got to do both, but you have some kind of choice. Let's see what it is. Search the encounter deck and discard pile for a minion and reveal it, or search the encounter deck and discard pile for a side scheme and reveal it. Certain
Dang.
scenarios and things. I mean, I guess this is just for Enchantress, but I wonder. I wonder if there's going to be an impact on which order you do it. If it's going to affect it. I'm curious to see what the minions and side schemes are, but it feels like it's impactful which order you do it. But
Yep.
yeah, having to get this, and then if you're in fraud, it's a double encounter card effectively. The search is maybe forgiving in that you can search for like a weaker minion and a weaker side scheme, but we
Mhm.
haven't seen yet what they could be. Are there any easy ones? I don't know. But I like it.
I like it too because I feel like when you are defiant, this is a good card to draw, right? Because
Hmm.
you are choosing your encounter card, which I think is a very powerful thing to do in the game. When it is not, it's still you're still choosing, but it's effectively an under fire where you're choosing both of the encounter cards, and nobody ever likes to see under fire, and so that can make it very challenging. Um,
the
Mm.
The theme is starting to get me here because like I'm enthralled and now she's having more of an effect on me. So I really like this, but it's not like if I'm not enthralled, it just surges, which sometimes you're like, oh, really cool thing, not condition isn't right, misses. So this is a fun treachery for me, and I want to
Hmm.
see what the minions and stuff we can pull with it are.
Yeah. Simper does say with 3 boost icons. There's a lot of boost icons in the set so far that we've seen.
So far, we've seen Crown, which is free, and Fraud Lackey, which is 1 and a boost effect, and then we've seen free again. So, like, so far, these cards are looking very nasty as a boost
Yep.
cards.
Yep. We got Spell Blast, which is another one. When revealed, if your identity has the Defiant trait, choose one. Enthralled, do both. She schemes with +1 scheme in expert mode, or she attacks you with +1 attack in expert mode. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. You draw. I don't want to be
Wow.
enthralled at all. That sounds
What?
horrible.
For one thing, all these cards are trying to make too much eye contact with me. But two, a double activation, a scheme, and an attack. Like, you cannot escape. Like,
Ugh.
so interesting. Like, even if your alter ego, right? If your identity is enthralled, you're getting attacked with +1 attack on expert mode. That is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I'm so curious. So, like, does she not have a second stage or something? It's just like getting enthralled at the second stage. Is that what I'm getting here? But it
Well,
being
it's a
twice as bad
one.
in.
Like it's stage
I'm.
1, so I assume she has multiple stages.
This is scary. Yeah. there's gotta be a safety mechanic or something somewhere, right? Or are you just getting doubled for the entire game as soon as it's flipped? Is it like yeah, I don't know, but Spell Blast is scary. Also 2 boost icons, still pretty respectable.
Yep. My initial thought right here, right now, is that I feel like shield or encounter deck manipulation feels pretty good here. Like
Yeah, let's get rid of
I don't want to
these.
draw this card. This is a bad card. Hey Autumn, how's it going? Oh my gosh, that's tough. Okay. I Tough card. I like it though.
Mm,
I think it's fun. But it
it's
does kind of make
impactful.
me it's impactful, and I feel like it is one of those cards that or this feels like a scenario that when I go enthralled, all hands on deck, enemy's gate is down, attack. Right? Rush down the
Yeah,
villain because it's a
yeah,
timing game at this point.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, JF. Yeah, it's probably not that crazy at start, but once you get enthralled, it's a fight. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Or the Spellbound. Ooh, it's a side scheme. What's this guy do?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say, what's this girl do? What's this lady do? When defeated, each player whose identity has a defiant trait places 1 charm counter on the enchantment card in their play area.
Hmm.
Each player whose identity has the enthralled trait discards a card they control. So, this feels like a scenario I need to read twice before talking to people on a video about. There's a lot going on here. So, if your card hasn't flipped yet, your card becomes more likely to flip. And if it has flipped, you lose a card. So, it's sort of tightening her magical grasp on you. Or if you are under control, it's weakening you. So
Mm-hmm.
I like that. There's different things happening at different stages. Otherwise, it's just a 4 threat, doesn't scale per person like a lot of side schemes, and has a crisis icon.
Yep. Vivian's coming.
Interesting.
Vivian's coming to this deck. We're playing in this card.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah. That's it's upsetting. Upsetting to see. But
Discarding a
I mean,
card isn't like the end of the world. It's not like a random card, which is nice. Just when
yeah.
it's discard a random card, it always picks the one you don't want every time without fail. It's like a magic ability,
Or like it's
which is
not
good.
discard the highest card. So like
Yeah,
you
that
toss skilled
too.
investigator, right? Practice plan, like
Yeah.
some
Oh,
of
this is
these things
control.
that yeah.
Yeah. I think for some reason it was like from your hand, but from your board that is worse. So yeah, we'll bring Vivian.
Yep, yep, yep. Yeah,
Anyone
Autumn.
boost icon.
Yeah, Autumn, I agree. The art on this, the art in this entire pack has been really solid
I
so
felt that the
far.
art recently has been really good, just in general. So
Hmm.
I really like this.
The lighting here on like the magic, it's so clean looking. Mm.
Mm.
Okay, so we've seen treacheries, we have seen side schemes, and we have seen a minion. What do we see has the install trait? Well, minions like the enthralled brute.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a big sword. It's a 1/2/4 with guard. While this minion is engaged with a player who has the enthralled trait, it gets +3 hit points. It's a 1/7
Oh.
guard minion. That's mean. Like that
This is giving me
that's
hmm.
tough to get through.
It's giving me flashbacks to, I think, in Boggs' Venom Goblin scenario, there's a symbiotic monstrosity, which I think it's more health if the one of the main schemes has flipped or something. So this is kind of giving me that kind of impression here. I quite like that. That they're increasing the health of it as you get through the scenario, as you get enthralled.
Mhm.
I'm really interested in this one. I quite like that. Yeah, 7 health guard, but 4 health guard, not too bad. It's not
Yeah.
quite twice as bad like we're seeing getting attacked and schemed against, if you're in fraud. So maybe it's more forgiving in that way. Again, another boost effect that's starting to push you toward being in fraud, which is scary. I like this though. I like the art. Feels like a very D&D-ish like
Yep,
barbarian, but it's
yep,
in like a
yep.
modern day town. I guess it's an Asgardian
Yeah.
come sort of into the
As
Midgard.
barbarian. Yeah. It's also a brute trait, so we do have some synergy with the Mr. Hyde set. Choose to either
Mm.
place a charm counter. This is the boost effect. Place a charm counter on the enchantment card on your identity, or exhaust your identity. Wow, I just like skipped over a couple words that were pretty critical there. Um, um,
I mean, with how bad the game gets, I would be tempted to exhaust. It's going to be interesting to play that out and see how it really goes. But
mhm.
they're making a case for it with some of these treacheries.
And we haven't seen any way yet. I don't know if we'll see a card either that is not in this article or that is in this article to remove those counters, or if it's just a ticking time bomb. So I'll be
Yeah.
curious. Could this be a little hint to more Asgard heroes coming? I hope so. Right? We got some love for some older traits with the newest hero packs with Wakanda and Web Warriors. And so like Asgard
Hmm.
feels like Gamma feels like a trait that is back on the table. Looks like
Yeah.
Asgard's back on the table.
It's interesting. We got like Shuri, who's very much like T'Challa, Black Panther. Silk, who's a bit like Peter Parker.
hmm
There's a little bit of that kind of thing going on. I could see Jane Foster 4 or Beta Ray Bill being kind of like similar to 4, but different. It's definitely very, very possible. That's something I would be excited for personally. I think I'm excited for anything. Let's face it, especially when it's newly
Yeah.
revealed. But yeah, I'm curious about all this. I think the Asgard cards we have in the game are fun right now, so more of that
hmm
would be very welcome.
I want more Asgard allies so I can actually run the Bifrost effectively. That's a cool card. That
Yes.
support, I forget about that support. I was flipping through my cards yesterday, just kind of looking at them. I was like, oh yeah, that's a cool card. And then like, there's like 2 allies that like really kind of targets.
Yeah, outside of
But
aggression, especially, it's like
yeah,
I guess there's Heimdall and there's Beta Ray Bill.
yep, yep. Hmm. You don't like Asgard. I want more Web Warriors. Ah, I would like. I want it all. Oh
Yeah,
no,
have
I can't.
both.
I can't do that. I'm gonna get copyright striked. Um.
But beautiful singing.
Yeah. Thank you. It's the first time I've ever heard that in my life. Or Cinder. Oh, this art is sick. Oh
What
my
is this?
gosh.
Oh, this
This
is the
is
full
the
health guy I saw at the start.
Balrog.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, what does our Balrog do?
The Balrog, no, it's Cinder. Minion 1 scheme seems fine. 4 attack, not so good. But it does say Cinder's attacks deal indirect damage, and that's kind of interesting. So it's a huge attack, but you can split it up. 6 health, so definitely earning the elite trait here. It feels like, and a giant trait, which is kind of unusual.
Hmm.
When revealed, if your identity has the Defiant trait, Cinder activates against you. If your identity has the Enthralled trait, give them a tough status card. So it's kind of quick strike, but you could be Trigon, it could be quick scheme if you haven't been enthralled yet. But if not, they get tough. So it's really interesting and mixture where they go from aggressive to defensive rather than I don't know if this is necessarily I mean, I guess with 4 attack, it is worse if you're Defiant here, maybe, than if you're enthralled. Would you say that?
Yes. I think so. I think taking
That's
4 indirect damage is pretty brutal.
So this is very interesting.
Yeah.
Because you can't really like chump block that either because it's indirect. You can only put so much on a character, and then you've got to like take the rest of it if they don't have full hit points. So yeah, very cool out there. Really like this. Again, free boost icons. This scenario is gonna really hurt us.
Yeah. Autumn asking, is this the same guy that appeared in Thor Ragnarok? I have not watched Thor Ragnarok in a hot second. I don't know.
I will Google it.
The art in this set has been really good. It is okay. Sweet.
Cool.
JF saying that they wish that they would make aggression a little bit better at dealing with elite minions. Yeah. Hmm.
Maybe
That
in
would
Winter
be
Soldier's pack.
interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting to have something like a card that deals with elite minions versus like normal minions. Like we have a lot of cards that do not affect elite minions. It would be interesting to see the other side of the coin.
Yeah,
It
definitely feels
is
like there's
this
space for
god of
that.
the. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. And then it is the same one, god of the fire giants in D&D. Oh, that's cool.
Mm.
Nice. Sindir, tougher to face. On top of it all, you have the Enthralled trait. Then every charm counter you would gain ends up being threat on the main scheme, because of course it does. Okay, that's cool. Six. I hate boo.
But you don't lose the
Okay.
game on this one, so like there's gonna be a second side scheme, right? Main scheme.
There
So
has to be, right? So this
yeah,
is prime real estate. Mm.
that's funny.
Location. It starts with one threat, goes up by one per player as a force interrupt. When a charm counter will be placed on the enchantment card in your play area, if your identity has the enthralled trait, place one threat here instead. Threats out at 6 per player.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting. So not only is the downside of becoming enthralled being that you've got this now other like what they call trance to contend with, not only are the encounter cards getting worse, but now the threat is ticking up faster as well. So it feels like it's hitting you on a lot of angles quite intensely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious if the next main scheme would have the same thing. It sounds like yes.
I think so.
But surely more
Or
than 6 threshold, right?
I would hope so. I think it would have same or similar, right? Like it may be two threat
Mm,
or something like that. Something that's
that
worse.
sounds tough.
It does. It does. It sounds really bad. But yeah, so that's interesting. It does very much feel like they are intending you to go enthralled during the scenario.
Yes, and then they're going to punish you for
Of course they are.
it.
Why would
I
they
like.
not punish you for it?
I think I like everything I've seen though. It's gonna be like a big swing. It looks like when you become enchanted, but I like everything here, and I really like the art. Like we've said it a couple times. What I feel like they're doing sometimes is they're having a lot more art from comics than like the last expansion is something I feel like I noticed. I've not even said that in any of my videos or anything, but I feel like I noticed that. But here, even though like the custom ones they've done seem very good, so big
Mm-hmm.
fan.
Yeah. Nice. And I think that is. Oh wait, hold on. No, it is not, because it says before we preview the second scenario, we talk about the special encounter set. So we do have an encounter set that we're gonna special
Special
encounter
encounter
set.
set.
Okay, now
Tell
I'm
me
just
more.
confused. Yeah, 'cause that feels like a modular set.
I think we should read.
Yeah, I think we should. Okay, so this encounter set represents the trickster's villain's power at work, including all the trouble they're able to stir up as distractions for the heroes. These range from tricky side schemes like the Trickster Tango. I love that name, the Trickster
It's
Tango.
good.
I love this art. I love this card. This is my favorite card. What does it do? Um,
It's your favorite card before you know what it does. I love it.
yeah, why not, right?
I like it.
The villain gains stalwart. They cannot be
Hmm.
stunned. And 2 acceleration icons. This activation is attacking against overkill. Okay, I hate that sentence.
You said it was your favorite card.
It's a cool card. It really is. Like I think it's a really fun card.
I actually really like this. I kind of like a little bit of secret overkill sometimes, but I really like stalwart and double acceleration. It makes it something about the double acceleration makes it really interesting to me. It feels like if this is going to be included, it's really pushing that main scheme that's only got 6 on it toward going over. You know, they're going
Yep.
to start you off easy, but they are from the sort of enthrall mechanic and the main scheme starting to push things toward getting harder, really pressure you. So it's not going to be like a really it's not going to be one of those passive scenarios that's going to sit for you and like wait for you to hit the villain kind of thing.
Yeah. Also fun like
Mm.
thing with the chat. Autumn says 10 out of 10 art, I'm in love, but the way that the line breaks, I read it as 0 out of 10 art. I was like, I kind of like the art.
No, the art is good. The art is
Yeah.
fun.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Peter. I literally had to pull over. I was gonna correct the surfer sender. That's funny. 11 card encounter set. Okay. I'm still curious why this is an encounter set, not a modular set. So the Trickster Tango, complicating things with a love triangle, which is
Okay.
a attachment attached to an ally you control. Otherwise, this card gains surge. The attached ally cannot attack the villain or defend against the ally villain's attacks. As an alter ego action, we can exhaust the attached ally and spend a mental resource to discard this card.
The
Not,
theme of this is so funny.
yeah, it really is. Yeah,
So
that I like the theme a lot. It doesn't seem. It feels like a evolved Enthralled from like the Enchantress modular set.
yeah, it's like Enthralled, but it's got a
Or
bit more like a
Seduce.
theme to it and a story to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know.
Seduce.
I like this a lot. I think that's really funny. Like I can still
Hmm.
use the ally to attack minions. I can use them to thwart, but
Yep.
they will not attack the villain and they will not block the villain. They just refuse to. That's so funny.
Yeah, and like there are some allies where I am perfectly fine having this on them, right? Like
Right? Do you think encounter set they meant modular set? Because this sounds like
I
so funny
think
to put this
so.
into. You know, I
I
could.
feel like yeah.
I feel like I can have like I don't know, the Phoenix ally suddenly in a love triangle with the Thanos villain. I'm like, wait, what's happened here? Like, what's going on?
Oh no.
What is this plot twist? It sounds hilarious.
Yeah, I'm gonna read a little bit further without looking at any cards because I want to see manage to knock them out back to their senses. These four will actually team up with you to take down the villains who are controlling their minds. I think this is a modular set.
It looks
Because
like a modular set.
it would I don't know, it would tell us what an encounter set is. It's not I don't think it's an 11 card. It's not another scenario. It may be, but like there's no villain. So I think it's a modular set. I think this is a typo.
Yeah, we'll see. I actually have realized in chat, Peter here, who I think writes the article, was, and he says, yes, it's a modular encounter
Oh,
set.
okay,
So
okay.
that's
Sweet.
awesome. That's really cool. I really like this. Thank you for the clarification. Really appreciate it.
Perfect. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense. It makes me a lot I'm excited now because I see a lot of names here that I like. Okay, so yes,
Yeah.
so um yeah,
And an 11 card modular set, like that's unprecedented to my memory. I think 10 with like Band of Badoon is typically the highest we've seen.
yeah.
So this is gonna make an impact. Suddenly you've got a lot of cards going into whatever deck you put this in. I wanna see some of these other characters.
Sweet. So we got Absorbing Man. What does Absorbing Man do?
He absorbs things. Let me read. 2 scheme, 1 attack, brute, elite, Enthralled, 7 hit points. Guard, victory 1. So you knock him out, and then he's gone. But he's pretty tough before then with like that 7 health. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's
Mm-hmm.
guard. Elite as well is a little bit of a roadblock to some things. Well, he's engaged with you. He has plus attack, where X is the printed cost of the highest card you control. So the more expensive the card you have, that's kind of representing him absorbing, getting a bigger attack.
Yeah.
If I've got Avengers Mansion, he's hitting for 5, and if I'm Maria Hill, he absorbs a flying helicarrier, and we're in serious trouble with a big attack stat. Is what I'm getting from this.
Ooh.
Yeah. When defeated, the player who defeats this minion puts to set aside, absorbing an ally. Oh, that's cool. So you defeat him, and you get the ally version of him. This is
Okay.
really, really cool.
I love it. I love it so much. Which is
Mhm.
probably why it's such a high modular set, number modular set. I bet 4 of
True.
these
I
are
bet they're
set aside
linked.
cards. Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Do we have okay, so I'm gonna look at do you wanna look at the set aside Absorbing Man now? Just to kind of
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Peter's given advice. We've got to keep reading to see what's special, and I think we've just got to it. I'm so excited.
and to keep them away from Maria's helicarriers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, so the Absorbing Man ally, 3 cost basic, 1/1/3, 2 consequentials. Linked to the Absorbing Man villain, victory 0, does not count against your ally limit. When Absorbing Man attacks or thwarts, it exhausts an upgrade or support you control. He gets plus X to that power, where X is that card's printed cost up to +3. That's cool.
That's so interesting. I love this mechanic. I love the linked mechanic they brought into the game with, I think,
Mm-hmm.
X23's pack, I believe, was the first time we saw it. Correct
Specialized.
me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Specialized training, yeah. Doesn't count against your ally limit, which is always fun. And then you get to exhaust an upgrade or support. So these different upgrades and supports you're getting, and they're getting extra use, extra ways you can interact with that. And if I'm Maria Hill with the helicarrier, now suddenly I can get like reserve my counters, and I can get like +6 damage or something from That's an
Well,
extreme example,
max
but
3, right? So
Max
it's
3, Max 3. I was
but
reading through it
still.
again. There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
Whoops.
yeah, yeah. But
In
still.
theory, but yeah.
And like what I like about this is
Wow.
you can exhaust an upgrader support you control, which could be a upgrader support that does not have an ability when you exhaust it, right? You can choose Web of Life and Destiny, you get +3 to an attack, and you don't lose any effect. There's no opportunity cost lost, right? Whereas if you exhaust a hella
Mm,
character, it's kind of an extra resource. But if you have one of these things that you don't need to exhaust out,
yeah.
that's really fun. Energy barriers, force field generators, those kind of things, right? Like
That's
they're
really useful.
non-exhaustible effects. That's really cool.
And
Oh,
now
victory.
Absorbing Man can be in a love triangle with a villain if the cards line up. That's very funny.
Peter says no victory keyword on an absorbing man ally
I thought
either.
it
Oh yeah, I think he
it
does
does
have
have,
victory
yes.
0.
But
Um,
that's maybe, yeah. I wanna
it's
see the other
really
villain,
fun.
the
Yeah,
minions. They're really
yeah,
cool.
yeah. I think there's a lot of it's a really interesting and cool mod set, and this is labeled as 8 out of 11, and so I think that is going to be a 7 card modular set with 4 linked cards.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, love it. Okay, let's see what's next. And I think Absorbing Man is the only ally that we are getting, but let's see if we can theorize on what the ally versions of Tatiana is going to be. What is
Yeah.
Tatiana? Oh, she looks like I'm about to get knocked into the shadow realm. Oh my gosh. Alrighty.
Um, yeah, Titania here, should I just read it out? We've got 1
Yeah.
scheme, free attack, same traits as the, Mr. Absorbing Man, 8 health this time, steady, victory, so we're kind of seeing the victory and all the traits is probably gonna be on all of these, and a lot of health. Overkill on the free attack, so unjumpable. When defeated, the player defeated gets the Titania ally. I'm Is it going to be something like Absorbing Man, where it's, he does something by absorbing the cost and then you get to use the cost again?
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing she's going to have overkill, and beyond that, I'm not sure. I mean, she's got steady. I don't know if Absorbing Man has any traits on him. He has guard. I don't know if that's going to be what's going to be reflected here. I think she might. My guess is she hits really hard. I think the Nemesis version of Titania for She-Hulk does something weird. Is that based on cost of stuff as well? I actually don't remember. What do you think?
I think it's X attack equal to the remaining hit points.
Yes, I
Or
just looked it
yeah,
up, but that is
something like
exactly
that.
right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I it does seem like it's going to be a big hitter with overkill, which is pretty cool. I like
Yeah.
it. I like
Always like some
I really
damage.
like the yeah, I really like the idea of like having these victory one minions that are big. Like we were talking about in like before, the Thunderbolts, like all of those are just like really cool. I'm really excited to see more of that into the game added into the game. And it feels like we're adding
Yeah.
like 4 half Thunderbolts into the game, but we get a benefit whenever we take them out too, which is just super fun. Also 3 boost icons here, 2 boost icons on Absorbing Man. I think if these are going to be in the Enchantress scenario, we're getting hit hard.
Yeah, she's got one attack, but all the boosts you could imagine.
Yep.
And I'm just gonna pivot slightly to like the theme here. I do like that there are some people that are already enthralled that we can redeem,
Yeah.
and that to me suggests maybe there's a redemption mechanic in this. I'm not sure. Maybe when the main scheme flips, you get a moment of. I'm just guessing. Maybe I'm just hopeful.
Yep. Yep.
But I like this. I really like this. Should we look at Whirlwind?
We should. Adam has a question. Will they ever do anything with victory number? That does have an effect in the Guardians campaign, but I think that's
If you
the
add
only
this mod
time.
set,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's kind of fun. Add the mod set, and you get to go get some more toys at the shop. That's cool.
yeah, cool.
Oh, she and Absorbing Man in the comics got married. So bring on a love triangle, which is a
Oh,
card that is from um the set as well.
yeah.
That's
That's
really fun.
funny.
I thank you. That's really fun. Alrighty, so we've got Whirlwind. Ah, the art. I love it.
I
So
do quite like it.
2/1/6 with quick strike, victory 1. After a whirlwind attacks you, take 1 indirect damage for each side scheme in play. Super cool. And then when defeated, we're gonna get the minion
Ooh.
version. Or the ally version, sorry.
The force
Okay.
response is really interesting because, like, player side schemes, right? So if you've got a player side scheme out and then he
Yeah.
comes for you, you're suddenly taking extra damage based on that. But if there are no side schemes, he's pretty, not too bad if I'm reading this correctly. So kind of interesting. He's kind of the opposite of the Jessica Jones ally in that way as a minion, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yep. It also Whirlwind feels like significantly harder in 4-player because you just have more side schemes. There's just more side schemes out on the
Yeah.
table, right? In true solo, there are going to be times, and like I've seen it in my streams where it's like, okay, well, I have 5 side schemes, and now Whirlwind's hitting me for 1,000,000.
That's really
But
funny because we have a whirlwind minion in the Masters of Evil modular set, and I think that hits everyone at the table. In this case, everyone at the table who's pulled a side scheme is powering this guy up just against one person. If that makes sense, it
yep,
feels almost like an opposite. So that's kind of fun.
my theory for the ally version of Whirlwind is going to be very similar to, I think it's Richter in the Sentinels set, where after he attacks, deals 1 damage to everyone.
I don't know. I'm gonna throw something out there as that
Okay.
where each side scheme here increases the indirect damage you would have to take. I wonder if for each side scheme not in play, like maybe each side scheme gives him a negative, and for having less side schemes in, he's going to do more damage or something. That's my little prediction.
That's cool. I like it. I hope that's it. I like yours more.
So, kind of another opposite Jessica Jones kind of thing. They wouldn't make good friends because one wants side schemes and one doesn't. That's my theory.
That's cool. Alrighty, and then our last one here is Zax. I wonder
I like the
if
pronunciation.
Zax. So, fun fact: I just rearranged all of my modular sets. Like, I did a big reorganization a couple days ago, and I found the Zax modular set, which I completely forgot about. But because it was in like the back of my box, and I did not have a divider for it,
Ah.
it left my mind that that it was a thing. But anyways, Zax, retaliate 1. It's a 1/2/6. When revealed, discard the top 4 cards of your deck. For each printed lightning resource discarded this way, take 1 indirect damage. Very similar to what we've seen with the other Zax.
Yeah, it makes sense. He likes energy, or rather, we don't like to have energy when he's around.
Yep.
Then he's got a defeated effect, which, yeah, again, we get the ally. I'm going to make the prediction first this time. My prediction for the ally version is going to be... Maybe it's discard the top 4 cards of your deck. For each printed resource, like he gets energy resource, he gets bonus damage to deal to the enemy. That feels like it makes sense because we're now powering him up
Repulsor.
against our opponent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
repulsor.
blast.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be cool.
that's cool.
I would love that. It'd be so much fun to run that with like an Iron Man or Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, which kind of lean into those energy resources.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Now, like as soon as I saw that, I was like, I want to break Zax back out with Captain Marvel. Like that's a fun matchup, and like now you can even throw more. Oh, okay, so that's cool.
Yeah, I like these a lot.
Yeah, this is a really fun and special set.
It is. I really like it.
Yeah.
And as someone who plays a lot of 2-player, but sometimes doesn't love like getting allies on like the wrong character because now my Mighty Avengers isn't working because they don't have the Avengers trait. It's whoever defeats them, I think, gets the ally in place, so you can kind of tactically figure out who gets what. And I think that'll be
Yep.
pretty fun as well.
Yep.
So yeah, really like this. Very cool.
Very, very cool. She be fun fact after Dr. Doom gave okay, I've always said it Tatiana. Is that how? I don't know. Whatever. Gave her powers during Secret Wars. Spider-Man defeated her so easily that he had a complex about him for a while. It feels like such a Spider-Man thing to happen. What are the rules for indirect damage? It can't go in an ally's health. It can go on an ally's health. You can assign indirect damage to a character up to the remaining hit points of that character. So if you have 2 health left on an ally, you can assign 2 of the indirect damage onto the ally and the rest has to go elsewhere. But you can't assign 4 indirect damage if the ally only has 2 health.
Yes.
Titanium. I'm just gonna look it up later and not say it for the rest of the stream. Anyways,
I'll say it. I think it's Titania.
Okay, Titania. I like it. Nice. Okay, so So really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. Already, I think that this is going to be just an incredible scenario pack, but we are
Yeah,
not even done. Yeah, what's
I
up?
want to say I'm intimidated by being enthralled by Enchantress, but I'm also excited. It feels like it's a scenario where, you know, a couple of like, especially the early ones in the game, not a ton is always happening, and that's understandable being early on. In Enchantress, it feels like something's always happening, and then you get enthralled, and something's really happening a lot, and you're gonna have to, really, really fight tooth and nail because there's disadvantages. You've got minions who are turning into allies; those are going to be pretty helpful. Um, I guess it's actually they're maybe not that severe as encounter cards because you get an ally out of it afterwards. It's like oh, this is really bad, but then it's good. There's a lot of
Hmm.
interesting stuff going on. And then I've just seen, I don't know if you've got it on your screen yet, but I scrolled down and it starts saying the God of Lies, and I see a lot of really cool titles on these cards, and this pack seems to have a lot of potential.
Hmm. Hmm. Autumn's saying, I'm going to say it. This is the best scenario for Valkyrie because then your Nemesis can't come out. Love it. We finally get
Absolutely.
Valkyrie support. Yes, let's go. That's amazing.
Great
That's
point.
amazing. Um,
And I guess for
yeah,
the Loki Nemesis can't come out against the next one. Although it's Loki God of Life, so maybe it can.
I think it
And it's
is
like
because
another
it's a different.
copy. Oh,
Yep,
I take it all
Enchantress
back.
is just Enchantress.
I tried to be clever and I wasn't.
So after
Oh,
dealing with Enchantress, our heroes will have a little time to breathe before coming into conflict with Loki. So it does feel like it's going to be another kind of Mojo verse style scenario pack that is a progression rather than like a Green Goblin, where they're kind of standalone. It feels like there's some sort of campaign mechanics going into it. So
hmm
that's kind of fun. I assume you can also play them standalone, but that's kind of cool.
hmm
As we mentioned earlier in the article, this scenario marks the introduction of a brand new epic multiplayer mode for the game.
So
Sick.
cool.
So cool. And this is kind of what was maybe teased a little bit by the Gen Con team, I think inadvertently, but because I believe, I think the event was taken down, but I assume it may be back up, that the event will be run at Gen Con as a epic multiplayer event, meaning that uh, different tables can work together. Loki's avatars will
Yeah.
have spread all across the globe, and heroes must work together like never before to shatter the mischievous god's illusion and bring him down once for all. Ba, ba,
I like that
ba.
they're referring to we fought him before. Now we've got to bring him down once and for all. It feels like a step up. And Loki was already pretty scary,
Yeah,
but maybe not illusions all around the world scary. So exciting
Peter.
start.
Peter did go ahead and confirm that it is flavor text. There is no mini campaign, but I'm still really excited for the epic multiplayer version of this thing. So to kick things off, we have a primary villain card, Loki, God of Lies. What is this guy? Looks very exciting.
Yeah, I mean he's got no scheme and no attack. Has got a mystic traits. If Loki God of Lies has 10 HP or fewer, flip this card. So when he's got 20 health or more, solo, he seems to have no scheme or attack. There's clearly gonna be something else at work here. But when you get him to half health, basically, is the mechanic, he flips. So he's fine, and then he's probably gonna get worse. It feels a bit like Defiant and Enthralled. They're playing with like the card flips and something gets worse. But I think we need to read some more. There's not a lot going on there.
Yeah. This is the true Loki, and the one that everyone currently participating in the scenario in single group mode or in epic multiplayer mode. So that is good. Also good to know that there is
Right.
a single group mode. So play this as a normal scenario, or if you are gathering in like a big like event, Con of Heroes or something like that, Gen Con
Mm,
multiplayer. So we're gonna have a couple of different, slightly different rules, I assume. Everyone participating needs to defeat in order to win. Sounds simple
I get
enough,
it.
right?
It makes
Expert.
sense to me.
Yeah, yeah. Except nothing is as it seems with this masterful trickster. He has no qualms about breaking the game's normal rules. No matter what you do, you cannot directly attack or damage Loki. There it is. Okay, so
That's
we're going
fun.
to be
So
interacting with the game to bring that health down to that 10 to flip him. Sick.
that's really
Okay.
fun. So like the Loki God of Lies is like his health, but it's like set aside and you have to interact with it in different
Yeah.
ways. That makes a lot of sense to me. It's kind of almost objective based, it sounds like, or hitting like smaller
Mm-hmm.
Lokis. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we should keep reading.
Yeah, so this is thanks to Worlds Collide. So this is the main scheme. This does look like that new icon. So it's 2 per, I think, everybody in the group.
I feel like I wonder if I think it says something about it here. A unique main scheme shared by all player groups, which not only prevents anyone from I was wondering if it's like groups of players, right? So like if you got 3
Yeah.
tables, it's 2 per group of table, or maybe it's 2 per everyone on every table, like you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, each icon on this scheme counts the total number of all groups in all pods. Gonna have to learn all the new terms for this one.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, counts the total number of groups in all pods. So I don't even know what a pod is or a group is.
Maybe it's a group of groups.
A
This is
group of
intense.
groups. Yeah. 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 I'm excited. It feels like worlds are colliding, and like it does feel like, the TVA, like everything's kind of happening.
Yeah.
And then
Like you can see through the portals on the art, so I'm going to interrupt. You can see there's, I think, Asgard, and then there's
Oh,
what looks like Paris. So like very
that's
TVA
cool.
portals to places.
Yeah.
Everything is colliding.
How nifty. Okay. So each per player icon on Loki God of Lies, which is that main villain, counts the total number of players in all game areas. So, wow. So
Cool. Setting up for the
that's
massive multiplayer.
so massive multiplayer. If you have 2 groups of 4 players, Loki would have 160 health total. So it looks like we're all trying to take down one villain card Loki with like one shared health pool. Or I hope that
Yeah.
one table doesn't have to deal 160 damage. That seems like a
No, I
lot.
don't. That'd be crazy. Very cool. I'm wondering if there's gonna be an upper limit on this. So if you own enough copies of the pack, can like you just have infinite like Loki?
Yeah.
But that's probably not gonna happen. I'm probably mostly gonna play this on standalone mode, not massive multiplayer. But I am excited to try it like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The true Loki, yep, Worlds Collide, is a unique main scheme shared by all player groups, which not only prevents anyone from damaging Loki, but also prevents any threat from being removed from itself. The only way you're going to be able to damage Loki is to shatter the illusion, and to do that, you're going to have to fight off all of his various avatars. There are 4 different avatars of Loki, so very similar to the normal. I don't know if normal is, or like the original Loki scenario. So cool. Okay, so Lord Rascal, Miscreant, Connive,
Knave.
Knave, thank you, and Wretch. So let's look at these. Rascal, what is the Rascal doing?
What is the Rascal doing? Probably something rascally. He's got 1 scheme, 1 attack, Avatar of Loki trait, forced response. After you resolve a boost card during his activation, if that card is a treachery, no. If that card is a treachery, either deal it to yourself as a face down encounter card, or spend 1 resource of any type. So this is giving me like a bit of a flashback to the Falls version of Loki as a minion,
Yep.
and where like his interaction specifically with treachery cards. And it's worse if you get one, but otherwise it's different. I'm going to be spending that resource, I can tell you, every time possible, unless the treachery is really weak, which is unlikely, I feel like. Then an interrupt, when this villain would be defeated, place 5 per person shatter counters here, and flip this card instead. There's so much going on in this scenario.
Yeah. That's really
What are
cool.
shatter
Okay.
counters?
I don't know. I'm excited though.
Me too.
He's a rascal. So flip the card. So I was under the assumption, or I was kind of thinking that A1 would be the standard side, and then the flip side would be B1 or the expert side. But it does not sound like that is correct. Before we read the others, let's see if we can find.
I think I found it.
Okay.
I think it might be Fleeting Figment.
Fleeting Figment. Alrighty.
It's 29B,
Yeah.
and the other one was 29A. So you flip it from Loki the Rascal to Fading Figment.
So this is a dash for scheme and attack, infinity hit points. When revealed,
Wow.
shatter the illusion. See the set aside shatter illusion card. Choose a group in your pod, then place synergy counters there on their unified front environment equal to the number of players in that group. My logic in my brain is breaking. I'm trying to like follow the logic flow without writing anything down, and it hurts. It hurts me.
I think we're going to see, like, after this card, they talk about Shatter the Illusion, but to me, it sounds like each group of groups has a couple of their own cards to help keep track of everything. And like you'll
Yeah.
probably, if you follow the instructions, it will break it down step by step. But trying to learn it piece by piece from an article live is gonna be
Yeah,
quite a
right.
challenge. Yeah.
Okay, so Shatter the Illusion, which is where we need to go next, right?
Yes.
Shatter the Illusion. Okay, so this is just a rules reference card. So when a fading figment is revealed, follow these steps to shatter Loki's. Okay, what is a fading figment? Okay. Oh, so I assume
It's the card we
the
just looked
flip
at.
side, they're all fading figments. So
Right.
each
Yes, that
one,
makes sense. Yep.
yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so each one of these 4 flips into a fading figment. Okay. So when that is revealed,
Okay.
remove each shatter counter from fading figment, which is 5 per player.
Yeah.
Then deal damage to Loki Godalized, which is the overall Loki, equal to the number of shatter counters removed that way. Okay, yeah. So 5 per player. Loki has 20 health per player in total. You have 4 of these that you have to deal with, so you have to defeat 4 Lokis, and that's going to be your contribution to defeating Loki.
That makes sense. So you've got the Rascal, the Miscreant, the Knave, the Wretch. Defeat all of those in probably a random order, and you have contributed a good amount of damage. Yeah, a lot going on here, but I mean, it makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yep. Then you're swapping the Fading Figment in play with a random set aside villain, which is one of the other 3 that you have. With the avatar Loki set face up, then set the hit point dial to the printed hit point value, deal every player an encounter card. So yeah, like you're taking out these like figments, and each time you're defeating a 4th of the overall villain.
I like that it's kind of reminiscent of the current Loki scenario we have. When one goes like back into the deck, we can then get it again. It says like swap it with one aside. So if we defeat the Rascal, we could then get the Miscreant. Then we defeat the Miscreant. Could be the Rascal again, or the other one. So that's what it feels like to me. So you're not just going to defeat the set 4. It could be, you might not see the
Oh.
Wretch once, maybe if you don't get like good luck. And it kind of means if one table is playing faster or has a lot more damage, maybe they can contribute more than their fair share
That
to
makes
the
sense.
overall goal. So that's cool. I like the way this
Yes.
works. It's
Yeah.
complicated, but it's all making sense to me, and just my
Yep.
first read without even seeing everything and having the instructions. So I like this.
And that makes it so that if one table fails, it doesn't fail for everybody, right?
Yeah,
Like
everyone can keep
if
playing. It just means people have to do more.
yep. That's cool. And I like that, right? If there's 20 tables, if one table fails, I don't want they only take out 2 Lokis before they get destroyed. Someone else just needs to take out 2 other tables have to take out 1 Loki. Well, additional Loki, so 5 Lokis.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, and then there was something else that happened. Shatter the illusion. Okay, so
So we read Loki the Rascal. We read Fading Figment and Shadow the Illusion. We still have a lot of Lokis to look at.
mhm.
We've got Lofty Goals. We've got Grendel Malekith. There's so many cool cards and stuff going on here. Do you want to go back to the Lokis?
I think so. So what does the miscreant do?
Miscreant things. Maybe maybe they all interact with treacheries because it says here it's got 1 scheme, 2 attack,
Mhm.
force response. After you resolve a treachery, place 1 threat on the main scheme and 1 threat on the side scheme. So every time you get a treachery, just revealed normally, 1 threat on main, 1 threat on the side scheme. Done. So treacheries here in the player phase start to get sorry, in the villain sort of encounter reveal step of the villain phase. All going to be a little bit worse when this guy's around. So the other guy affects boost cards and can give you extra boosts. This guy is just saying these treacheries you get normally, maybe you wish you didn't get them. So yeah, for definitely Miscreant. What do you think of this one?
I think that this one is not as bad as the other one.
It's interesting, isn't it?
I
Because
guess
if
like
you
you
get
can
a
spend a resource to cancel the card.
yeah, the other one like is a resource worth 1 threat on a main and 1 threat on a side scheme. If you don't have a side scheme out, I guess this one's more forgiving. It depends how
Oh,
bad the
I
side
don't
scheme
think you
is.
can cancel the effect on this one though, right? Like
No,
whenever
not on
you
this
reveal,
one.
yeah, yeah. So it's
I'm
interesting.
just curious, like comparing the
Yeah,
Lokis. Like who's the worst Loki? But I like them.
this one has a little bit higher stat line at a 1/2 versus a 1/1.
Hmm.
Do they all have the same amount of hit points? So far, they both have 15. And so it's actually the same amount of health, assuming that these are the expert cards as well that you would have to take out in the standard or the expert version of Loki, right? 60 health, 4 15s versus 320s.
Yeah. Also, a quick heads up to people: if you can hear anything, there's some work going on outside here. Hopefully it doesn't get picked up. But sorry if it does.
Okay, so you defeat this, all of the stuff happens, and somehow you affect another table, which we have not gotten to quite yet, but that's gonna be cool.
No, but I'm liking this so far. What does the next Loki do?
Okay, this is the flip flop of the stats. So instead of a 1-2, it's a 2-1, and then after you
I
resolve
love
a
that.
treachery, yeah,
The flip flop of the stats.
flip flop of the stats and of the ability. So after you resolve a treachery, deal a damage to your identity card and 1 damage to an ally you control.
Very, very treacherous. And ally
Yeah,
you
I don't
control is
love it.
starting to. Leadership doesn't like this one, especially, or anything
Oof.
leaning into that.
Yeah.
Colossus doesn't like this with his tough cards.
Hmm.
So there's a few things this counters, but on the whole, I don't think this is like terrible.
Yeah. I think like friendly robots asking, do you think there are any heroes that would be a good bad matchup? Colossus. I think also just like going back to the shield stuff, any encounter deck manipulation feels pretty decent for both of the scenarios here, because if you can
Yeah,
avoid treacheries, step for cuckoos, um, what
like
is
the web warriors with Madam Web
spycraft?
that can now rearrange stuff is going to
Yeah,
be useful here.
yeah. Oh, I love Madam Web.
So good.
Such a good ally. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So okay, there's that one, and then our final one is the Wretch. Loki looks like he has been in the gym. What's going
He
on?
does. Maybe it's an illusion. So back to the 1/1 stats here. Forced interrupt. When he activates against you, discard the top of the encounter deck. If a treachery was discarded this way, yeah, he gets +1 scheme and +1 attack. So this time the treacheries are ending up being stat boost for his activations, which is not the worst if you're like blocking with a tough or an ally, but it's going to start to hit you a little bit. For me, this one's maybe the most mild. Is my first impression. What do you think?
I would say the same. Like a 2-2 is like a fairly average stat line, at least for a expert villain. So like a
Yeah.
2-2 conditional, like with a default 1-1. I don't think that's too bad.
It is going to start discarding the encounter deck a little quicker. I wonder if that's going to have any effect here. But beyond that, because it's discarding an additional card, not be the boost card like the
Mm-hmm.
rascal we looked at. Feels weird to refer to that. But yeah, this one doesn't seem as bad, unless you're playing perfect defense, I suppose. So I guess it starts to
True.
match up differently with aspects that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like all of these. I don't think any of them are too punishing. All of them are sufficiently different. One is make you spend resources. The other's threat here and there. Then we've got damage here and there, and then we've got stat boosting, whichever scheme or attacks. So definitely a variety.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious. Do you think we will get expert versions of these cards, or we kind of
I don't know if
looking
they
at
will
this?
because they're double sided, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Which like Baron
hang
Zemo
on.
has double sided standard and expert version.
I'm looking at Loki the Rascal and it's A1. Then Loki the Miscreant is B1. So is that the expert version we're looking at for the Miscreant? That's why he's got the increased health. It's not just 1/1. Because the no wait, the C1D1. I'm just no okay. They just all have a different ladder.
Yeah.
I'm taking. Let me have a look. Fading Figment. A2. I think we're just gonna have the same on standard and expert. That's what my guess is gonna be.
Okay. I wonder if we'll see something like what we saw in the Enchantress set, where the encounter cards kind of get modified based on if you are playing standard or expert.
That would be my guess as well. Yeah, I think that sounds very plausible.
Oh, Autumn says that later in the article it explains how expert mode works. Nice, thanks.
The answer to all of our questions is read. Just read what they've already put in here. Peter did this hard work, and we're just like theorizing. I wonder. It's just there.
Nice. Okay, that's hilarious.
I think Lofty
This is an
goals.
article. This is an article.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. Okay, so every time they manage to defeat one, as you fight your avatar Loki, you'll build up shatter counters, and through side schemes like Lofty Goals, which is okay. So there's other ways to place shatter counters on the avatar of Loki villain. So you're not always just doing 5, because when you defeat this, which I do like this art, like it's
I
a
do
different art
too.
style,
It's from the
but it
comics,
kind of
I
makes sense.
think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
But
I like
it
it.
makes sense to have different art styles in like this multiverse like style scenario. It's kind of
Yeah, and
fun.
different versions of Loki look all a little bit different. This guy's got a little hammer there. I guess that's part of his lofty goal. A
He's
bit of
able to,
a meme, yeah.
yeah, impressive.
I
So,
wonder if you can one way or another for this. Burn through the encounter deck, reset it, then try and fetch it again to keep building up extra shadow counters. I mean, there's some
yeah.
interesting strategies if you want to build into it, but I'm sure you can just play the scenario normally as well. Feels like a good
Hmm.
way around. Boost effect is 1 indirect damage for each character you control, so leadership's a little bit sad with this one and so on. But very cool. I like it.
I like it. Yeah, I like the fact that there are ways to add additional um, shatter counters. And then Adam is saying the art for Lofty Goal is during a run where Loki was a hero. That's cool.
That's
That's real fun.
interesting. So it says Loki's avatars are spread all around the globe. Are we having a multiverse thing here, or are these clones of him? Right? These are like illusions, is what I'm thinking. But it'd be interesting if there was a heroic one floating around.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, what's up, Guarismo? Okay, we got Lofty Goals, or minions like Grendel.
Yeah,
Ooh, Grendel looks angry. So
it
one
does.
one six guard. High health guard is always an issue. When Grendel attacks, discard the top 3 cards in the encounter deck. For each treachery discarded this way, he gets +1 attack for the attack. Ooh.
Another treachery thing. That's definitely the big theme here.
Yeah.
And yeah, he could end up hitting. He could end up hitting 4 damage if you're extremely unlucky. I assume that's unlikely, but 6 health guard hitting for 4 potentially pretty scary.
Yep. Then
Mm.
whenever you defeat him, you get to place 3 shatter counters on the avatar of Loki villain. It's giving me a lot of the same vibes as uh Magog. In like the
I was
sense
about to
that,
say, as soon as you
yeah,
started saying that,
it's very cool. Very cool. I like how
mm,
we're seeing kind of that resurgence because I love the Magog scenario.
yeah, people haven't heard this yet. 'Cause it's in the podcast we were in the middle of recording before this was coming out. But I was talking about the adaptoids, little tease there. Hopefully that's all right. And we're talking about how you can defeat that to like interact with the scenario. And this is another minion you defeat can interact with the scenario. It's definitely a design space I really like.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I had a hiccup. Um, or Malekith. What does Malekith do?
Malekith is another dark elf. I wonder if that's part of the theme of the story in the book here. But we've got 2 scheme, 2 attack, 5 health, retaliate 1 can be annoying, but not
Mm-hmm.
generally too bad if you can muster 5 damage in one go. After Malekith attacks you, discard the top of the encounter deck. If that card is a surprise, treachery, deal it to yourself as a face down encounter card. So if you let this guy attack you, you might get an encounter card if you're unlucky. That's very scary, but when defeated, you get to put 2 shadow counters on the avatar of Loki villain.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Deal 1 damage. Yeah. Ooh. Attacks you, discard. Yeah, this feels like you're taking him out immediately, right? I mean, like,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, like I'm not waiting around for this one. I'm not taking
I'm
that
also
too.
I also want to know there's 3 boost icons here, 2 boost icons on the last one. On the previous side scheme, it's a boost effect to take damage per character. Like the boosts definitely seem like in this whole scenario pack, like they stepped up a notch. Or just at least the cards are showing are scary boost icons and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Honorable Viking says that we need a Malekith villain. It would be cool to have an Asgard box with him and Magog and the other Thor villain. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down.
These
Oh
minions
my
seem
goodness.
cool.
The minions do seem cool. Like the scenario seems really interesting. Like I feel like my head hurts, but I've kind of like I have an understanding of the pacing of the scenario at this point, and I'm able to start appreciating the design of it. So I'm having a lot of
Yes.
fun, like with that. And then we already jumped ahead to talk about these, but we were talking about the Shattering the Illusions, Fading Figments,
Yep.
number of shatter counters you built up, and now we know that you can add more shatter counters than just the 5 per player that you're adding whenever you take out the Avatar of Loki version of whatever you're fighting.
Yeah.
So now that we know how to damage the real Loki, but the odds are still stacked against you. After all, Loki's plan is affecting the entire globe. And with him, raising mischief and mayhem. This is the main scheme. So 8 threat per player, which I assume, unless, because it doesn't say specifically, this is for your table or your group that you're playing with.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my head around it. So the Worlds Collide main scheme we already looked at is like the overall main scheme for all the groups combined, and this is the main scheme per table here.
I'm thinking like Wrecking Crew
Hmm.
has like the
Yeah,
overall main scheme and then a main scheme for the active villain and stuff. I'm kind of seeing parallels there. When this scheme would be defeated and that threat's out at 8 per player, remove all threat from here and place 1 threat on World Collide instead, which is that
and that's
overall
gonna.
main scheme.
So if they complete that, you start the whole collection of groups start to lose the main scheme. It looks like.
Yeah. Then, when an identity would be defeated, change that identity's form to alter ego, set its hit points value to 1, and place 1 threat on World's Collide. Okay, so you don't lose. That's interesting.
When an identity would be defeated, change the identity's form to alter ego. Yeah, I'm trying to get my head around all the stuff going on. So it's almost like Deadpool regenerating into Degenerate.
Yep.
Like, whoops, you haven't actually been defeated, but 1 threat and Worlds Collide combined with the main scheme going over 8 per person is not like an extreme amount.
Mm.
I think it's maybe quite challenging not to lose this. If I look at Worlds Collide quickly, if the stage is completed, players lose the game. Each group, it looks like to me, or is this a pod?
I
Each
think,
pod, but it's definitely going to be only so many times you can have that per table. So I feel like if one table has a really bad game, everyone else is going to have to really pull their weight a lot.
yeah, so the way that I am conceptualizing this is your group can either have, your group can pop the main or have a hero defeated twice to like reach your allocation. But you don't want to do twice
Mhm.
because if everyone does twice, you all lose. That's how I'm reading it.
Yeah. I wonder if like someone might be about to get defeated, and you're like, you know what? Let's pause the game here and let everyone else keep playing. Would that be a strategy? It doesn't sound very exciting, but that's what I'm thinking about.
Break time.
Yep, you play that card.
Play
Um,
pool. Yeah, right. Okay, so that's cool. That's interesting. Um, I'm curious. I've never done a. Well, I guess we did do a massive multiplayer, and like Autumn was running the massive multiplayer, one of the massive multiplayers at Con of Heroes, and so you just had like a representative from each table go tell kind of like the GM or the person who is taking care of the entire group, um,
mhm.
and they are kind of running that main scheme and keeping track of the main hit point value. Now I want like a giant screen at Gen Con with like a ticker on it. I think that'd be fun. Okay.
Yeah.
And just slip over from the heroes could swing momentum back in the Trickster's God's favor. Fortunately, defeating an Avatar Loki also adds some synergy counters. That's what we were talking. We had read that before that we get like synergy counters onto one of the
Synergy
force.
counters, shatter
But
counters. Sorry to interrupt it. Just
no,
like keep
there's
trying to
just so
follow
many
it.
of them. I love it. Scourge represents the heroes from around the world working together to take Loki down, and they provide some pretty powerful benefits. For example, domineering force. What is this? Oh, that's a busy art. What does it do?
Let's have a look. Let me click into this. Oh, that art is really cool though. That is 4 with an axe, as I see it. Environment permanent synergy. Max 1 per person synergy counters here. When a friendly character attacks, remove a synergy counter from here. That attack deals 4 additional damage. That's super cool. So you're getting like supercharged and boom. 4 additional damage feels really fun. There's a lot of fun synergy there. It's a friendly character and it can be any kind of attack as I read it. So there's some fun interaction with like aspect cards and attacks which benefit you the more damage you deal and stuff like that. Maybe
Yes.
dive bomb. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, dude, dive bomb is stupid.
And that was really stupid.
Then we got like dust attacks every minion now for 5 instead of 1. Um, you could
Oh, dust is a
do,
great shout.
yeah. I'm thinking wasp, like the overkill wasp build with like hand cannon, and so
Oh, that's
now
really
like
silly.
because like the giant wasp can spread her damage out. And so if you have
Mm,
5 minions and you can hit each one of those and with a hand cannon, this is like a build that was run like when Wasp had initially came out. You can apply that overkill damage and follow through on every single one of them. So now
mm.
you just like get 4 additional and I'm bringing Wasp to this massive multiplayer. You can't stop me. I'm doing it.
There is, yeah, like just overkill effects, like moment of triumph if you need extra healing too. You can do some really cool combos there.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
wondering, I reckon we're going to see the same, but for forwarding. That's my guess for the next one. I haven't looked yet.
That's really cool. Okay, so that's domineering force. Unified front. Oh, oh
Ah,
wow. Woo. Okay, so place one max one per player synergy counter here. Remove one synergy counter to generate 2 wild resources.
not
Cool.
bad.
Not
So
bad at all.
back to that question about who's this scenario good for and who's it not good for. Characters like Jubilee that want different resource types. Maybe if Unified Front could be really, really good for her, and some of these things are going to like help certain characters with the resource requirements.
Yeah.
Getting the Peter Parker basic web warrior ally into play,
Oh,
that kind of thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
And also just like ramp, right? Like I think if you're able to help out a table who is, struggling a little bit to kind of get off the ground, and like maybe you're playing a lot of aggressive heroes, you can like rush down some villains, throw synergy counters to help those more build out tables go. That's
Hmm.
really cool. Mm. Ooh,
I think
what's up?
I can say I read a little bit ahead. I don't know if
Okay.
you're up for a little bit of talk about how these work. But it says each player group has their own copies of these environments to work with, and when you're playing in epic multiplayer mode, you can choose any group in your pod to grant synergy counters to. So if a table is struggling, and defeat Loki rather than give our own group the benefit, like I can give it to a different group within the same group of groups.
Yeah.
So whoever is struggling, you can kind of like throw the help their way, which is probably gonna be really nice. Like bail them out, and then if you get in trouble, they can kind of bail you out, maybe.
Yep.
That
Yep.
whole thing. I think maybe you're alluding to something like to that degree, but like just use it to help who needs it. And I think that kind of whole teamwork thing adds an extra dimension to this multiplayer mode. Because I mean, this to me sounds like a scenario that would probably be quite fun in solo play. Like, but in
Hmm.
massively multiplayer, that extra level
Yep.
seems very fun. I like it.
So the hills have nerds. It was out for a second. Anyone mention Gambit? We did not mention Gambit with the Royal Flush with the +4
That's
damage
nice.
synergy. Now you're doing 777. Silly. I love it.
A lot of fun
Oh
stuff.
yeah. I like being able to help out. So you can has their own copies of the environments, and when you're playing it, you can choose any group in your pod. Can you choose yourself? I kind of hope you can't. Like
Yeah,
in
it's
the
a weird
massive
one. I'm not.
multiplayer.
It'll say in the rules.
Yeah. Like I would prefer forcing interactions with more groups, or else
I
like I
guess
feel like
in
I just always choose myself.
I guess in like non-epic multiplayer mode, you would
Oh
have to
yeah.
choose yourself.
Yes.
So
Yes.
maybe epic multiplayer mode adds in a rule where you cannot choose your
Hmm.
group. But I guess we'll see.
And then of course it's not like Loki himself is just gonna sit there and wait for you to win.
Oh man,
When he drops to half health, yes, we forgot about, or I forgot about that already. When he drops to half health, he flips to his second stage. Trickster Takeover, God of Lies. What is stage 2? I also find it interesting that they use the number 2 and not the Roman numeral, which we are our normal use.
yeah. So when he flips, he's still got no scheme and no attack, same traits. When revealed, each group in standard mode attaches their set-aside intense focus to the avatar of Loki villain in the game area. Each group in expert mode flips their intense focus attachment to its total focus side.
That's
So
cool.
it sounds like different groups don't have to all be on the same
That's cool.
difficulty, which
I
is
love it.
phenomenally cool. So a bunch of players who maybe brought, I don't know, a lot of Maria Hill recursion kind of shenanigans on top of maybe like dive on my own technique. Maybe they start on expert. Maybe this other group, newer players, they play on standard, but everyone can play in the same group game
That
and have a really, that's so good.
I think that's incredible. I love it.
Very cool. So it sounds like
Very
on
very
expert
good.
mode, you start with intense focus, and if you're in standard, it's now brought in. And on expert, it goes from always being in play to being on its harder side.
Gotcha.
Do we get to see that
Gotcha.
card? We
Yeah,
do get to see
intense
that card.
focus. Okay, so intense focus. Attach the avatar Loki villain gets +2 hit points and gains steady. It's also a +1
Okay.
scheme, +1 attack. And when revealed in standard mode, discard the top 2 cards per player from the encounter deck, the top 5 cards of each player deck. Interesting.
Okay.
So I
In
guess like
standard mode. So it's, yeah, okay. Sorry, go on.
no, I was just like I was gonna say I think this is the first time we've seen a win revealed if in standard mode versus
I
we've seen that in expert mode a lot. I think it's
yeah,
the first time we've ever seen it in standard.
I think it's because in expert mode, this is going to be revealed at the very start of the game,
Yeah.
which makes taking like cards from the deck and different things a bit weird. But in standard mode, it comes in halfway ish,
Yep.
which makes sense to me. And yeah, this must be the expert mechanics that we referred to, obviously seeing
Yep.
later. So while it's going to be the same Lokis we're fighting, they're going to have +1 scheme, +1 attack from the get-go on expert mode, which is going to make them pretty more formidable with all these boosted icons and effects we're seeing.
And
Especially the
+2 hit
steady.
points.
I'm not worried about +2 hit points. I'm worried about the steady, and I'm worried about the damage.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, steady makes it brutal.
Um,
Nice. Nice. I do. Yeah, I think we hammered it already, but I'm still on the fact that I love how table A can play expert, table B can play standard. I love
it's
that.
so cool.
It's so good. So intense focus. Trickster Takeover and powering up his avatars for the rest of the game. If your group is playing in expert mode, you started the game with intense focus, so confirm that. Good call, villain. Which means at this point it flips over to total focus.
This is going to scare
Uh-oh.
me. Oh, it's not
Giving
+2, +2. Okay.
Giving me on the run vibes, but what does it do?
What does it do? So I just looked. It doesn't give +2/+2 like I expected, which is a little mercy. So permanent again. The avatar of Loki gains +3 hit points in steady, so it's an extra hit point. When revealed, discard the top 2 cards per player of the encounter deck. So in 4 player, that's 8, solo 2, and the top 5 cards of each player deck. Find Dark Scepter and reveal it. If Dark Scepter did not enter play this way, give the villain a tough status card. So let me try and figure this out. So you discard 2 cards from the encounter deck. Let's just stick with solo play for my brain's sake.
Yeah.
And the top 5 from each player deck. And that's just its own thing, unrelated. Then you have to find Dark Scepter, which now could be in the discard, it could be in the encounter deck, it could be anywhere, and reveal it. Unless it's already on him, then he gets a tough.
Or
So
dealt
it's just
to
a few.
somebody.
Yes. Oh, true. But that seems unlikely to be with this timing.
Yeah, it'd be weird.
Yes, it could be. Yeah. But okay, this makes sense to me. So they get a little bit more extra hit points per person. Still steady, not stalwart. Just a lot of things getting discarded, and now the scepter. I wonder how bad the scepter is. How scary is it?
I assume we're gonna see it. If not, my prediction is it's bad. Right?
I
Because
can
like
see that.
this is not a huge increase in difficulty.
I can see the Dark Scepter. I've not clicked into it. I'm guessing Scepter feels thwart related and controlling magic related.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Alrighty. Let's see what it is. Fishing the Dark Scepter. Oh, that art is so cool.
I like it. It's giving me Avengers movie vibes.
Ooh. Okay, so the avatar of Loki villain gains stalwart. And then as a hero response after you resolve a treachery, spend 2 resources of the same type to discard this card. It's +1 attack. Okay, so not actually as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, so you cannot cancel the treachery. You have to spend 2 resources of the same type after you have one. But then it goes. So that is not too bad. Like the stalwart, yeah, it's annoying, but it doesn't seem too difficult to get rid of. Just it kind of feels like regular encounter card attachment level is what I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe slightly more than normal, like for an attachment, but not significantly, maybe.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I don't like stalwarts. That's annoying. It is if I'm thinking about this correctly, if this gets attached to the avatar of Loki that has 1 hit point left, you do 1 damage, it goes away, right? Like it doesn't reattach to the next one that comes out? Or does it
Oh
because
yeah,
it is the same name?
But they're not the same name, right? It's Loki the Rascal, Loki the Miscreant.
Yeah.
We might have to double check the rules on that one, but I think it would go away if you just punch them in the face really hard.
Yeah. So we got some like more like siege shenanigans where like get that really bad, like it's gonna be really tough to get rid of. It's like,
something.
We'll just beat them up, and then they drop the Dark Scepter, and it's fine. Oh, nice.
Cool.
Okay, boosting the avatar even further. Both intense focus and total focus represents concentrating power on fighting the heroes, hoping to snatch victory through devious means. Even so, with a bit of synergy, a whole lot of teamwork, your fellow heroes can prevail against the god of lies. Now, the Trickster Tango is coming in August. That does sound like a Gen Con release if I've ever heard of one.
Hopefully it's all on time because there's been recent delays.
My guess is that they would have at least some copies at Gen Con. If they are delaying like a retail release for a couple weeks or something, they would have some copies for the events at least at Gen Con. Overall thoughts, what are you thinking about our newest scenario pack.
I'm really excited for it. It's so different. I mean, it feels like so long ago we were discussing Enchantress. I think there's a lot in this reveal. But just about the charm, the Defiant, getting Enthralled. Really, I like this scenario pack. I think really going to need to play it because they're very in-depth, very mechanic heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But everything has made sense to me so far. Add charm counters, you get Enthralled. Add shadow counters, damages the big overall Loki. So I am following it along. I don't know if other people are, but it makes sense to me, and that's a strong start. So presumably, once the rule book is in front of us, it's going to be very easy to follow because that's probably my big concern. But I don't see that being an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from that, I'm just thinking about outside of epic multiplayer mode because that's obviously going to be really cool. And just playing the game with more people makes
Yeah.
everything cooler. I don't see how this wouldn't be cool for solo play because all the encounter cards quite in depth, quite mechanic heavy. There's a lot of stuff going on to interact with, so I can't see how this would be boring
Mm-hmm.
in solo mode. I mean, it's gonna be better, I think, in epic multiplayer because you've got these extra levers and extra things on top of it. Doesn't mean it's like necessarily worse in solo. It just gains more in epic multiplayer. I can play Mutagen Formula, and it's not epic multiplayer, but it's still a great scenario. So I'm hoping that's going to hold out. That's my general thoughts. I'm trying to card count really quickly as I talk to you. 34 cards in Loki, 32 in Enchantress,
I'm guessing
and then
78 total.
yeah,
You said that
11
right.
in the modular set. So does that mean we have another modular set unrevealed,
So
or is that everything? I lost count as I was saying that.
so we got
34 add
34,
32.
32, and 11. That's 77.
There's one more.
It's a long shot.
Imagine if it's a long shot. They could this. I mean, they did it in Mojo. They could do a long shot here. Maybe that's a good Loki.
Yep. Yep. Hey
Wow.
Matthew,
So
just dropping in. So I haven't heard your thoughts yet. I'm concerned Loki scenario will only ever be played at conventions and nowhere else. We were just talking about that, and
I
we
don't think
think
that's
that
the
it's a.
case.
I don't think it's the case either. I think it's a really cool scenario that also can be played in multiplayer, massive multiplayer. I think reading through it, it looks like a better version of Loki with the same
Yeah.
feel of Loki.
I don't think I'm just flicking through all these cards now. While you're talking, I don't see anything in here which looks less interesting than the average villain encounter card. So I don't see why in solo this wouldn't be just as fun as like insert average scenario at a minimum. That's the
Yeah.
early impression. Have to play it. I don't know how it's going to actually be, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm curious. Presumably in the non-crazy epic multiplayer mode, the setup wouldn't be as heavy, and that's going to help it get to the table as well.
Mm.
Because you wouldn't need to worry as much. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Gurismo is calling for a 16-handed solo game. I love it. I love it.
My friend Ernie plays this game like four-handed already, so I
Oh
might challenge
wow.
him to go eight-handed. Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah. Last question, at least that I have. Are you more excited for Enchantress or Loki?
Ooh, um, I'm torn on that one. They're so different and there's so
Yeah.
much going on. Like Loki, the character excites me more, but I like the Defiant effect. I'm gonna go with Loki. I do think I will get the occasional time to play this, maybe at one of my local stores or something, as a massive multiplayer. Um, so that's definitely just gonna give him that little edge because solo mode, I feel like it's too hard to call with what we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Yeah. I th- mm, I think Loki as well. I think Loki as well. Maybe in true solo. I don't know. Both of them seem really really fun. Um, I think I
Yeah.
think Enchantress may be played more, but I think I will enjoy Loki more. How about that? I think
Hmm.
yeah.
I'm starting to think, like non-massively multiplayer. Maybe Enchantress would be more fun, but Loki's still fun and playable. I'm getting
Mhm.
that impression the more I think about it.
Yeah, because Loki in expert mode is pretty beefy, right? 18 times 2, 36 plus 34, so he's 70 health. I mean, like that's a lot to go through in true solo.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a really fun pack. I'm also just excited that we are getting scenario packs still because I know that that was a question
Yes.
at one point. And so
Sneaky Sneaky Caleb in our interview on Shadow of the Cast. He's like, I'm sure they'll do some again. Don't maybe they will. It's on their hands. I don't design the game anymore. I think he knew. I
He
think he.
knew. He knew. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for hanging out and going through the new um Trickster Takeover article with us. I am super excited. The art here, which is a little cropped off. Maybe I can pull it up here. Nope, it's still cropped off. Just do it. Let me do it like that. Looks very Arkham-y to me. Um,
I think so. Yeah, it's got a bit of
yeah.
a darker. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks all for hanging out. I appreciate it. If you're watching the replay of it, let us know what your thoughts are about the Trickster Takeover down in the video comments. And until next time, I hope everyone has so much fun playing whatever game that they are. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know where my end screen is. Huh. Over here.